The Cisterna magna and the cavum septi pellucidum are our backup hitters after we've observed the fetal ventricular atrium. I recommend that you obtain this picture where you line up the cavum with the Cisterna magna. In this way, you can make both observations on a single image. Of the two, the Cisterna magna is the more important. Again, measurement is usually not required. If I see CSF go behind the hemisphere, then I consider that to be a normal Cisterna magna. I already know that if I feel the urge to measure the Cisterna magna, I'm already in trouble. Now, the reason we are interested in the Cisterna magna is mainly because of myelomeningocele. As I said, myelomeningocele commonly also has ventriculomegaly, but it does not always show ventriculomegaly. And when there is no ventriculomegaly, the Cisterna magna is our friend. Here's the problem. We would like to diagnose all the myelomeningoceles before the 24th week, but only 40% of myelomeningoceles have ventriculomegaly at this time. Once we pass 24 weeks, the vast majority have ventriculomegaly, but before 24 weeks, the minority have ventriculomegaly. The reason we are interested in the Cisterna magna is because all fetuses with the Chiari-2 malformation have a myelomeningocele. Although all fetuses with a myelomeningocele do not have a Chiari-2 malformation, that is because of the restrictive definition of the Chiari-2 malformation, which requires tonsillar herniation. However, even when the tonsils have not herniated, the Cisterna magna is effaced. This is the clue we are looking for. Remember that in our study, 99 of the 112 fetuses with central nervous system anomalies had an enlarged ventricular atrium. That left us with 13 cases that we had not yet detected. Of those 13 cases, 7 had an enlarged ventricular atrium. Now, I'm sorry, not an enlarged, let me start that sentence again. 7 of those 13 had an abnormal Cisterna magna, now for a catchment of 95% of our cases. Again, tomorrow when you do your first case of obstetrical sonography in the 2nd or 3rd trimester, you will probably see a normal Cisterna magna. But when you see it, this is the list that should shoot through your mind. You've just excluded virtually all of the Dandy-Walker malformations, 99% of myelomeningoceles, in fact, 100% of the myelomeningoceles that I have seen in my more than 35 years as a prenatal diagnostician, all retrocellular arachnoid cysts, retrocerebellar arachnoid cysts, other Chiari malformation, the Chiari-3 with occipital encephalocele, and all megacisterna magnas. Not bad for, again, a 2-second observation. Here, clearly not a normal cisterna magna. In fact, what we see here is the vermis is a genetic causing the 4th ventricle to bulge into Blake's pouch, enlarging it. This is, in fact, the cisterna magna here and here, which is not completely effaced yet by the enlargement caused by the bulging 4th ventricle. Again, if you made all of those observations, great, but all I require is that you wouldn't look at that picture and say, hey, normal cisterna magna. Similarly here, we see an effaced cisterna magna in a fetus with a myelomeningocele. Now this fetus has the so-called banana sign. I like the banana sign, I have nothing against it, but it's important that you understand that the banana sign indicates a moderate Chiari malformation. The cerebellum has been pulled down so firmly that the cerebellar hemispheres are also effaced against the occipital bone. Importantly, do not mistake neck musculature as fluid in the cisterna magna. A word to the wise is sufficient. Now, not everyone, as I said, that has a myelomeningocele has a Chiari 2 malformation. They all, however, have an abnormal cisterna magna. This is the most normal cisterna magna that I have ever seen in a fetus with an open myelomeningocele. You can see a little touch of fluid behind the vermis, but no fluid that goes behind the cerebellar hemispheres. However, you will note that the cerebellar hemispheres are nicely rounded. They are not flattened as they are with the banana sign. Now, in this fetus, there was no Chiari malformation by MRI, but obviously the cisterna magna is abnormal. More difficult than recognizing, I think, an abnormal cisterna magna is discriminating between an abnormal cisterna magna and a technical problem. However, the one thing I think we can say with certainty is that if you're going to ascribe this issue to a technical problem, that technical problem had best be on this list. Late pregnancy, when the occipital bone is heavily calcified and it's difficult to visualize the cisterna magna. The fetus is in a brow-up presentation. There is oligohydramnios or morbidly obese mother. If the technical issue you are thinking about is not on this list, then it is almost always a mistake to ascribe the concern you have about the posterior fossa to a technical issue.